Hey church, I'm Jennifer Alessio, the children's pastor here at Heights Church. Thank you so much for joining me for today's devotional. Today we're going to be talking about leadership lessons from Esther. Now, Esther was a remarkable woman. She has an entire book of the Bible written about her, and I encourage you to read it. It is fabulous, and there's just so much wisdom that we can learn from the book of Esther. But today we're going to talk specifically about leadership lessons we can learn from Esther herself. Now, Esther, she was brave. She was placed into a situation that she would never have chosen herself, a young Jewish woman, to become a concubine in King Xerxes' harem, and for an opportunity to be chosen to be queen. And she stepped into it with great grace, and she chose wisdom and discernment, listening to her cousin Mordecai, listening to the eunuch who cared for her, and she was chosen to be queen, which is remarkable in itself. But she also chose to step up and intercede for her people when it really could have cost her her life, because no one was allowed to enter into the king's presence without first being summoned. But she chose to do it anyways. And this is what her cousin Mordecai said to her. And this is from Esther 4, verses 12 all the way through 14. When Esther's words were reported to Mordecai, he sent back this answer. She had just mentioned to him that the king has not asked me into his presence for 30 days. And if I go without being summoned, I could die. And this is what Mordecai says. Do not think because you are in the king's house, you alone of all the Jews will escape. For if you remain silent at this time, relief and deliverance for the Jews will arise from another place, but you and your father's family will perish. And who knows, but that you will have come to your royal position for such a time as this. And Esther was brave. She stepped into it. But she wasn't just brave. She also chose great wisdom and discernment. She thought about how her message would be best received by the king. And so she didn't just go and talk to the king. She created a banquet and invited Haman there, who was the enemy of the Jews and the author of this plot to kill them. And at the end of the night, the king asked, okay, what is it that you want? And she said, I'd like you to come back to a banquet tomorrow night. And on the second night, that's when she revealed her request. She asked that she and her people will be spared. And she also explained that Haman was the author of this plot. So of course, everything that was destined for her cousin Mordecai and the Jewish people actually ended up happening to Haman and to the enemies of the Jews in the kingdom of Persia. All because Esther was brave, and she also showed great discernment. In addition to being brave and showing great discernment, she knew that she could not go into the situation alone. She knew that she needed God with her to strengthen her, to give her favor and wisdom, and to create a path forward for her and for her success. And so this is what she said in response to Mordecai. I'm going back to Esther 4, and this is from Esther 4, verse 15. Then Esther sent this reply to Mordecai. Go gather together all the Jews who are in Susa and fast for me. Do not eat or drink for 3 days, night or day. I and my attendants will fast as you do. When this is done, I will go to the king, even though it is against the law, and if I perish, I perish. And so Esther knew that she needed God to strengthen her, and she needed him to go with her and for her to have success with the king. But she also knew that she needed a community to be by her side, praying and interceding for her. And so that's a lesson for all of us, is that when we are faced with a very difficult situation, with opposition, we need to invite others to come alongside of us, to encourage us, to strengthen us, and also to intercede for us with their prayers. And lastly, Esther released the outcomes to God. She knew that there's a great possibility that she may die. She said, if I perish, I perish. And so she trusted that I am going to go in here. I'm going to do what God is calling me to do. I'm going to step up. I'm going to be brave. I'm going to intercede on behalf of my people. But the outcome is up to God. If I die, I die, and it's okay. I know I've done my part. But I'm trusting and believing that God is going to intercede and bring about a victory in his own timing and in his own way. So friends, I encourage you, the next time you're faced with a situation of great opposition and at great cost to you, it may be a great cost relationally, it may be a great cost to your reputation, whatever it may be, it might even be a great cost financially, whatever it may be, I encourage you to trust God. Trust that he has gone before you, that he is with you, and look to the life of Esther and apply those leadership principles to your own life of being brave, of choosing to do what's right regardless of the outcomes, of using wisdom and discernment and thinking about how your message will be best received, by bringing a community alongside with you to pray and inviting God into the process through your own prayers, and lastly, by releasing the outcomes to God, trusting that he will bring about the conclusion to your efforts that he wants, and that he has a good plan and a good purpose for your life. So friends, thank you so much for joining me today, and I will see you next time.